Good morning. My name is Stan Yabroff. I'm a product specialist with CQG. And on behalf of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the CME Group, and CQG and Dow Jones News Service, we'd like to welcome you to the 2018 CME Group Trading Challenge. This competition is now going into, I believe, the 15th year, and has grown every single year. What our objective is quite simply to give college students an opportunity to see what it's like to be a trader and to trade live data with a top-ranked charting system and order entry system and news that is live. This experience is unique in that there is no difference between what you will be experiencing and every trader in the world who's trading the same markets will be trading and seeing at the same time. So everything is in real time. And you'll see that somebody will say something and you'll see the markets react live. There'll be a report. It could be an earnings report. It could be crude oil stocks, natural gas stocks, and you'll see the markets react to it. You'll also have an opportunity to see what was expected in these reports. Can't expect a comment, especially in this day and age, but you will be able to see what's anticipated in a report, see what comes out, and then watch the market react. And all of that will be done in live time, and that makes a unique experience. I'm going to just start off by, though I would suspect that most everybody's done this already, but let's just start off. Let's see if I can bring it over to the other side here. Okay. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to put in www.cqg.com. For some reason, it wants to go there first. Okay, and you've already probably done this, but if you go to products, the two products we're going to be using is IC, electronic integrated client, and we're going to be using CQG Desktop. But to log into Desktop, you will need a simulated trading login, which we hope to get out either this week or it may be the beginning of next week because we have to write instructions. You'll see what to do, but for the people that haven't seen the webinars yet, we'll do that. We are in the process of developing a app for at least the iPhone first and Android. We would like to be able to have that available for the actual competition, but it's still in a developmental stage. We just believe that the people who would partake in this competition would be probably the best test group that we could ever come up with to make sure everything was working right and also give us ideas on how to better the product. And I'll offer you that on our the web version, the cloud version, and which I'll show you at the end. We welcome any comments that you have on that. It's still an evolving product. It's an HTML5, and that's important. Now, If you want to get to our page from here, click on Partners and go to, by the way, here's, let's go to University and go all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see CQG on Campus, CME Trading Challenge. And here's the recorded one, but we're going to, and then this one, which will be better than the first one, will be here. When we get down, you'll see there is a button here for loading integrated. This is going to become very important here, and we have it both in English and Chinese for when you have to go to the simulator. And that's going to be, again, probably the beginning of next week because it uses a special server. And when you trade on the simulator, all your trades are going to be recorded, everybody on the team. In addition to that, and most importantly, is it does reflect real time, meaning that if you're going to trade, if you want to place a trade and there's not enough trades, not enough lots there to meet what you want to do, it's not going to fill you. It's not just going to do it automatically. The other thing, though, to be aware of as you compare what you'll do on a simulator to what you may do in real time, what it doesn't have on the simulator is a queue. That means that in reality, there could be 10,000 orders ahead of you. If it's the S&P, it could even be like that. And if they're in there first, they're going to get filled first. It's a first in, first filled. So keeping that in mind, that's the only place where the experience is different than real time. Meanwhile, your trade still goes to the server, and the server is still at the exchange. It's just not matched with another live trade. You'll also find here under Solutions, you'll find on electronic trading, you'll find videos, and under Support, I think let me see, Support, you can find different videos here, and a lot of support material is found here. And then I want to show you on this side you have news, and the reason I just wanted to show you the news is that we have events here, and these are recorded webinars, and we have columns. This shows some new things. For example, when we get down to the trading interface, there are webinars here, or at least there are information sheets that are telling you the functionality of things like CQG in the cloud, the desktop, and things like this. So you're going to get a lot of information. Just while we're here, Workspace is a large number of Excel spreadsheets that we have done for people that take data out of CQG and use it for various types of analysis. And blogs are things that people on a regular basis will put in, and it'll give you an idea of what people are looking for. Here's the desktop that we're going to be using. There's a nice piece there. And again, it's a good resource for those who want to get more information on there. And that's on the www.cqg.com, and that was the news button that we went to. So I'm going to close that. Oh. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is want to just show you real quickly. You have your system preferences. If you want to go in here, and you can go to time and display the time zone that you're in. Just to give you another example, now that we trade 23 hours a day, you have a choice of represented on your chart the last trade of the day or the official settlement. In today's world, most traders use the last quote of the day, and that's what the default is. But here's where you get another choice. The net change, which would be right up here on our spreadsheet. This is settlement. Now, when does gold, for example, settle? It settles 2:30 New York time, but it trades till 5. So if you want the net change to be based on 5 o'clock, you would select close. If you want it to be set on the settlement price, you would pick settlement. If you're not trading real money and you're not, the reason people would put in the settlement is that they're in that business, or they want the net difference to reflect what's on their equity runner statement that they get from their clearing firm. Not a situation we need. I would prefer everything to be set on close, and I'll put mine on close. These other things, I don't think, this is all set to be futures, so I think that's all set correctly. I don't think we need to go over the other things here. And I'm just going to show you what the, go over these really quickly. News, which we'll talk about in a bit. This is time and sales. And if we hit time and sales, that's going to tell us every trade that was made. If you hit volume, you can get the volume of each trade. And if you click on trades, here you're getting the bids, the offers, and then the trades. If you click again, the bids and offers go away, and you're left with the trades. And you can see they're 49, 55. You can see that the trades up here. Okay. We're not going to do options, alerts. What you might do is price alerts, or you could do a time alert if you have to leave and you want to do something. But we have alerts here. You can trade any month, so you could put up all cons and you would see all the contracts of gold. We're going to talk about expiration and first notice day in a little bit. And this shows you, well, the order ticket we're going to use, but this shows you all our trading in different interfaces, and you can take a look at those. And over here, we'll get into this as we go. So basically there, and then we have here, the toolbars here will vary depending on what you have open. This is a spreadsheet. In a minute, we're going to open a chart, and the toolbars will change if the chart is activated. If we have a trading interface, which we'll eventually open here, then again, it will change. When that's open, I'm going to show you how to go from the demo that you're using now to the simulator. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to build a quote spreadsheet. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this out. So this is price, net change on price, percent change, volume on the bid, ask, volume on the ask. So it's $13.30 $1,330 on the bid, $1,330.30 on the offer. There are, as changing, 40 on the bid, 23 on the offer. If you want to buy it, you're going to pay 30 cents. If you sell it, you're going to get 20 cents. There's only a one-tick bid offer change here. So this is gold. which represents our metals. Now, this is February. As we get into February, you may want to change this, or you could do it right from the start, to April. If you want April, you would put in GCEJ, and now you have April. And you can see it's still a 1x2, but the volumes aren't as big. But once this becomes first notice day, which means about 3 weeks before it expires, and how do I know that? I can go up here to more, go to contract specs, and it tells me the first notice day is the 28th, and it expires, oh, that's the March one. Let me go back up to February. Well, whoops, that's because I didn't change it. Okay, hold on. GCE. And you can see that the February, first notice is the last day of January, but it expires on the 26th. After you get into the month of February, I would suggest using April. Don't use March, use April. This is what we call a serial month. It's not a main month. April is the next main month. And then that's good for the whole competition because it's over before the last day of April. So that's gold. In the energy group, we're going to have CLE, which is crude oil. This is currently in March. Crude oil and natural gas are a little bit different. They expire the month before. So March crude is delivered in after the expiration. So if we highlight this and go back up here, you'll see that unlike the gold, the March first notice is on February 22nd, and it expires in the month of February, even though it says March. So you have to be aware of these. In the instructions, there are links because there's a big penalty if you trade an expired contract. So that you have to be careful of that. So that's crude oil. Now, you can trade a spread. If you wanted to trade a spread, it would be CLE S1 for 1 month spread. And then if you hit enter, you'll get the most active, and that's February, March. So there you're trading, you're buying the February, selling the March. For that reason, the markets are, well, there's a little divergence here. They're usually negative. And then the next one I'm going to put in there is natural gas, which follows the same rules, basically as crude oil. And I will add a NGES1 just to give you an idea of what the spreads look like. Now, obviously, spreads aren't as active, don't move as much as the outrights do. So that's your energy contracts. The stock index that we're using is EP. And if you're looking at that, my recommendation would be to put in EP and then put in a question mark. And the reason that you put in the question mark is that the question mark will roll based on, in the case of the S&P, will roll when the exchange tells us to roll it, so that everybody in the world rolls on the same day. That's not the case in the others, but it is the case in all the stock indices. And we're going in the fixed income interest rates, we're looking at TYA, which is the 10-year American U.S. 10-year bond note. And it's in 30 seconds, which makes it a little bit different than the rest of the world. And this would be, actually this looks like somebody has it set to decimals, it's not into 30 seconds. That would not be the regular setup on this. I will show you that before we're done. Currencies, we're using the euro. That's the euro-dollar cross. And then we get to the agriculturals. The first one we're going to look at is corn. And again, these are, let me take a second and go over to system preferences, and let's go to down here, price format and futures, and I'm going to this one, which should be the default. Now you can see that this is 14 even. That's 14 out of 32. It trades in halves. So it went to 13 and a half, back to 14. This is in quarters. So you're looking at 4, which would be a half. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8. So that trades in quarters. And that's the way it's traded. The next one we're going to look at is soybeans. That would be, and this is in cents, so it's actually $9.68 3/4 right here. This is $3.52. And again, if you were to highlight this and go to contract specs, it would tell you that it's in cents per bushel, not dollars and cents. It also tells you that it trades in quarters, and that each quarter is worth $12.50, which means a full penny is worth $50. Now, just to add to the chance for the people in the Pacific Rim to be able to, whoops, that didn't, hold on. Oh, that's good. My system probably isn't enabled for it. I'll have to check that. But MPO, and again, let's just go up here and go to symbol search. And I'm going to the Malaysian. Right here, I'm sorry, Bursa Malaysia. And this is red telling me that I'm not enabled for it. I got to turn that on. Excuse me. And this would tell you that the correct formula was F.MPO. And when it comes up red like that, that's an error on my part, not the system. Yours will be enabled for it. That means I'm not enabled. So I will have that. I will add that. And again, we're not going to. I'm not. It's going to turn up red, but that MPO S1. You can also do spreads on that. So these are the symbols that we're using. If we go up here and add columns, we can add anything you want to add. It all depends on your screen size. But what I'm going to do, just as a reference, is I'm going to put up at the end long description, which means that I will open this up. Just as a reference, you can see what these actually are. They will give you the full explanation. If you open it up far enough, which is why it's going to be on the background, even the spreads will tell you that it's that if you open up far enough, it'll tell you what the spread is. There, if I put this over here, it tells you that it's a February-March spread. So, and then what I would do is just put this in like this, and then if I forget what that is and I want to see, I just slide it down. So these are the symbols that we're going to be using: gold, crude oil, natural gas, the S&P, 10-year Treasury notes, the euro-dollar currency cross, corn, soybeans. Oh, I got one more to add. And the Bursa Malaysia exchange for the Pacific Rim. And the one that I want to add is GLE. And this is live cattle. We wanted to get a good representation of the agriculturals and then every other asset class: energy, metals, financial, fixed income, and currency. And currencies. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the front first. And you can see, by the way, as we look at this, for example, we can see that the S&P is down a little bit today, and that's after that huge rise yesterday. But if we right-click here, I'm going to open up an intraday chart, and I'm going to just put on I don't care, 5-minute chart. I'm going to make it a candlestick chart. And then I'm going to just size it, and then we'll look at some studies in a little bit. Actually, what I think I'll do is right-click and arrange them horizontally, and then I can do this, because I'm going to also put on a trading interface, and then we'll adjust it. This is an order ticket, which I'm going to put up, and we'll look at some other interfaces. That's good. And this is what I would look at as a, by the way, when you see this little arrow, just hit enter on the keyboard, everything will come back. And I'm now going to go up to this little CQG emblem. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to put link window mode. Then I'm going to click on the top of the order ticket, and I'm going to click on the top of the chart, and then I'm going to right click just to turn it off. And now look what happens. I just clicked it. There's gold. Click one single click crude. I recommend clicking on the price and not the name, because if you click on the name, the system thinks you're going to change it. So it doesn't always, it works. So if you, any one of these things, you can click anywhere here, and there we have the natural gas calendar spread. Here's the S&P, and we're going to go up to the chart, and you can see this arrow here, and this is a 10-minute chart. I actually recommend starting the other way around and going here, and well, let's put up a couple things on here first, especially this one. And these are what we call continuation charts. And this will allow you to see, oh, I don't want this monthly. Let's just put in comma M. That other one was monthly by month. I don't want that. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to right click and put display with vertical cursor. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. And this gives you this just gives you an idea of what the forest looks like. In other words, the long view. And you should, it's always good to see that. You can see that we have basically been in a bull market since 2010. We've actually been in a bull market since 2009, but here's where we got above resistance, and we've never looked back. We tested it once, and then we've never looked back since that period of time. Now we can right-click. Let's left-click. I don't care about quarterly. And now we're looking at a weekly chart. And again, it's a different perspective. You can still see where it broke out and where it tests, but this is now we're starting to focus. I'll go over this a little bit later, but we're looking for when the green is going up, which means the trend is strengthening, and that's the strongest part of the trade, and it has in fact been doing extremely well since October. Whether it's the income tax bill or what, we're never sure. But as you can see, the market has actually been going up since 2009. And again, now we're looking at a daily. Now we're starting to look at what we're interested in for the purpose of trading. We're looking at a daily, and this would be an hourly chart. Now you'll notice that if you look at the times, 6 o'clock at night is when it starts. Mine's set on New York time, by the way. So it would be on your line time where you see 18, it would be 17. And you can see that really on an hourly basis, we've been going flat since 2:30 yesterday. So right now we're rotating around 0. Now I'm going up to the button up here that says I'm going to go continue what I was doing. So I'm going to go over to 60. And here we have that same hourly chart. I left click and I'm looking at a 30-minute chart. And again, the whole idea is you want to look at multiple time frames. The longer time frame kind of sets the direction. The shorter one is for timing. And I left click again, and we're looking at a 10-minute chart. I'm looking again, and we're looking at a 5-minute and a 1-minute. I could go smaller, but it would be counterproductive. And these are candlesticks, and what's showing you is the body is the open and the close. Obviously, it hadn't closed yet, so it's open and last. If it's green, it's trading above its opening price, red below. And it's rallying right now, and it just opened at 9:30, so you can see that the first wave is up. And we've gone slightly positive. I put the cloud up. I think I'll post the ebook on the page on the CQG page. I just look at this as support resistance. So it was trading below resistance. It took out resistance, went right back through again. Now, the shorter the time frame, the less these things are as valid as they would be on a longer. But this is kind of the way I set up a page. EW is Elliott Wave. Again, just gives me an idea of the count. And if you're looking for that study, you can go to Study button. To find Elliott Wave, you got to scroll all the way to the end and look under Tom Joseph, T. Joseph, and then you can just turn it on. And then that will put a button on the left-hand side. If you hit that again, all of these are available to you because you're enabled for everything here. Everything here with your custom studies, you won't have as many as mine does because I put so many on over the years. And pointer tools are the things like Fibonacci retracements, text, trend lines. Most of these are third party and you don't have access to at this point. But one I do want to show you is trading, and I want to put it on order display. And what the order display does is it shows you on your chart all your orders, your entries, your resting orders, and that would make it a little bit easier. Before we're finished, I'm going to go over a lot of different chart types. Right now, we'll just leave the candlestick up here. And then this is your order ticket. And I'm going to show you two of them in particular because it's going to depend on how much space you have on your monitor. If you've got a 23-inch monitor, you're going to have a lot more space. If you're on a laptop, you're going to have a lot less space. So let's say that I want to buy, but I want to buy underneath the market. So if I just click on the price, you'll notice that the biggest button is buy a limit order at that price, and I would almost would have been filled if I put it in. And that means that the market has to come to your price. Or I could stop myself in. I could say, well, it's bullish, but I want to make sure the momentum is keeping up. So if I left click here, this time it's not the main one. I have to go over here and look at buy stop. It's important for you, and I'm going to go back down here. It's important for you to read It's important for you to read what it says. Buying one at 28.05. And of course, if I put this in, it's immediately filled because 28.05 was right in the middle of the bid and the offer. So we now have a trade on. Now if I go over here and put on order display, you see this, let's make it bigger. You see this blue arrow, that tells me where I got in. Now let's say I want to put in a stop and a limit. So I'm going to left click on this chain, and I'm going to go up here. I don't care, what do I buy it at? 28. Let's go up here just for the sake of argument and put in sell. And then I want to go down here and I want to put in a sell stop. This is actually a trailing stop. So I'll put that on. And then I'm going to unchain it. And it says I'm going to put in a sell stop, a sell limit, and a sell stop. Whichever one gets filled first, the other one's automatically canceled, and I got filled. It's got stopped out immediately. And now you'll notice that here's the out. So I got in here, I got out here, I lost money because I went long. I didn't show it to you, but let's put this in and put in a sell limit. See the yellow line? That tells me where I put my limit order in. So I can see where the market has to go for me to get hit on that order. I'm going to right click and cancel that order. This tells me I have nothing working. This tells me I had 2 orders filled. I'm going to show you a couple things here. One thing I want to show you is I want to go into my trading preferences. And once I'm in my trading preferences, I can change the way this looks. But what I want you to look for first is this thing is set on your machine at 1 and 1. That's under risk. And this is a fat finger risk. It doesn't stop an order, but it does give you a warning. That's going to slow you up. So at least put in 25 for your order. I don't care. Put 50 in for position. You're never going to get that high. But if that warning comes up, you made a mistake in the number you hit. Also on this page, you can set up the buttons that appear here in any increment that you want. I have 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. Obviously, I've been working with people that trade a little bit bigger. The other thing that I want to show you here is, let me see if I... There is a place, and where to go? Well, I'll find it. And where these numbers here are either in increment or in decrement, which means that it will either show you the number of lots that you have, or it will add them up. Right now I have it set so if I hit a 5, I get a 5. I hit a 10, I get a 10. If it's set up on increment, I hit a 5 and then I hit a 10, it's going to say 15. So I like to use the button system this way better, but people wanted to be able to add lots quickly, so you have a choice. I'm going to show you the orders and positions window. Oh, before I do that, let's go over here for a second. On your system, and I'll actually show you, you've logged into a demo, like I just did. We're going to have you log off the demo, go to the setup, uncheck demo, go to setup again, go to connection preference, and yours is going to say www.cqgtrader.com. You'll take out the www and type in demo. So it will read demo.cqgtrader.com. Now, when you log on, it's going to ask you for an ID and password. The ID is what we're going to send you in the next couple of days. And then the password is a computer-generated one, so it'll be gibberish. We have a new set of rules coming out of the EU called MiFID III, and all of the passwords and securities and everything are being have to fit their regulations as well as those in the United States. So they're now computer generated, and the rules, they have to have capital letters, small letters, numbers, symbols, things like that. So I'm now logging in, and now instead of the demo, I am now back on my simulator account. but I'm on the wrong account, so I'm going to go to this one. Otherwise, everything's going to say not traded. Now it's traded. So this is the process that you're going to have to go through from demo to simulator. So again, uncheck demo trading, log off first, uncheck demo trading, go to connection preference and make sure it says demo.cqgtrader.com, and then use your login and password. If during the competition you go to trade and it says you're not logged in, the first thing you want to do is go to connection preference and just make sure that it says demo. Sometimes it will revert back to www. You just have to type demo in, and that will work fine. And you'll be getting this in time for the people in the team to practice in a simulated mode so that everybody's trades can be seen together. When you open up the orders and positions, it would show you everybody's trades that are on this team. Now, once this is open, what I want you to do is go to the orders and position preferences. Two things I wanted to do here is, first thing we're going to do is turn on the filters, and I'll show you. That's just going to change the window a little bit. Account settings. I did this already, so this was yours is going to be turned on like this, and it's going to say match interday positions separately. You want to uncheck that and just leave it at FIFO. The reason for that is that members of the exchange get a discounted commission rate. So they match interday trades first. For people who come from the equity markets or people who are not familiar with the commodity markets, that drives them crazy. And they can't figure out why certain positions are open and other positions are closed. You can rectify that by simply unchecking intraday positions first. And that's under the orders and positions. And all of this is on the website. You'll see this, so it's verified. If you have a question, just type it in on the chat. Okay. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing. And then the other thing I recommend is that under orders and positions function, there's a thing under positions that says enable liquidation button in open position summary tab. I would check that off. And then just say check it. And what that does is that when you have an open position, it will show up here and it'll have a little X at the beginning. And if you want to liquidate the position, all you have to do is hit the X. Now let's put one in just to show you. Let's just take a look at the market for a second. It's right at 0. All right, let's just buy one at the market. Okay. Now you see that I have a position and I have an X here. If I hit this X, I can liquidate it right from my open position sheet. Or I can also go up to the trading interface in green here, right click, and it says liquidate position or reverse position. So right clicking on your position, you can liquidate it or reverse it. You can liquidate it right from here as well. That's orders and positions. So I'll liquidate this for right now. And by the way, you have your second blue arrow here. And if I want, I can do what we did before. Click on. I don't know, let's go, let's just go here and sell. And let's go here. And we want to put a sell trailing stop. And then we're going to go here and there. And you'll notice that there's a T here. If I click on this, I can take trailing off and just make it a regular stop order. It was on for some reason, so I just left it on. A trailing stop means that if the market goes in my favor, the stop will move up. If as soon as it goes back, the number of ticks that I put where I put it, this was one full handle or 4 ticks, then I'll get stopped out. So if this goes up to 26, 25, 50, this would move, the stop would move up. So eventually I'd be locking in the price I got in at. And that's a trailing stop. That's why it's a T. Okay. So now we can leave it go. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you one other trading interface, maybe two. This is what's called the DOM Trader. And on this one, by the way, you'll notice that my position's already there. But on this one, if I want to place an order, I just hold down the left button, drag it over, and then let it go. And by the way, if you want to change this order, all you have to do is left click on it and drag it. So I have it at 2600. Let's say I just want to move it up to 26.25. And this tells me, always read this because it tells you what you're doing. So I moved it up 1 tick, and now my order's here. And I can move it up or down any way I want, just by left clicking and dragging it up and down. So this is called the ladder, and you can do everything you can do on one, you can do on the other, but you do it by dragging. Then another one that is useful, and it's what you're going to be using on the mobile, or at least a version of it, is called the hybrid. And on the hybrid, you can either bring it over and drop it, or highlight it and use the buttons. Buy, sell at that price, buy, sell, limit order. You have your choices, and you got a lot of time to play on it. So you can play and learn how to use this. But I'm going to show you the mobile. This is very similar to the mobile. Again, it takes more space than this one does. And again, you can, as you thin this out up to a point, the writing gets smaller and the depth of market gets larger. But you can see that even with this, it takes a little bit more space. Not much, though. And this one takes a lot more space. So it all depends on whether you're using a tablet, a phone, or a computer with a screen, and how big is your monitor. So I'm going to close these right now just because they're on top of what I want to do. Okay, so here we're going to look at some different kinds of charts. So this is a 5-minute chart. It's a 1-minute chart. Let me do a 5-minute. Okay, there's a 5-minute chart, candlestick. And look how much the market's moving in these 5-minute time periods. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to constant volume bar. And what I'm going to be showing you is the types of charts that are untimed. So I'm going to put in 2,400 contracts. So now each bar is 2,400 contracts, and there's no time. So in the middle of the night when the market's closed, it's going to not give you as many bars. But these calculations also will not be affected by the lack of liquidity. So that's your trade-off. And you can see that the chart looks different. Even though all the trades are the same, you still can see that you have support at 2,800, but it looks different here because you don't have two different time frames here because there wasn't that much liquidity, and they occurred right next to each other. And I think we got stopped out. Yeah. Oh, no, 2804. I think we made money on that one. Let's see. Let's go back over here. Oh, yeah. Bought it here, got it out here. So we made money on that second chart with the trailing stop. And the second order was canceled. So if we go to our orders and positions now, we have nothing open, but under filled, we have 2 trades. We can also go to confirmation. That tells us that we have 2 trades. We can hit the arrow to show us what they are. And you can see that we lost 87.50, but we made 37.50 back. And you can have confirmation, shows each of the trades individually. You know, summary, nothing's open, account's not selected. So, but the working orders, filled orders, canceled. That's when we did the cancel replaces. Exceptions mean that the exchange rejected it. And I don't think you'll need park. That's when you're going to put an order in the future, and you just leave it there and then activate it. If we go over here to this account, and I go statement report, this will open up, and we keep about 30 days worth of orders on your screen. And you can either print it out in HTML, which looks like an equity run that you would get from a clearing firm, or you can save it to an Excel spreadsheet, put in whatever you want. You can leave them all checked. And it would then open up an Excel spreadsheet, and all the figures that you get here would be in the spreadsheet. You could keep them, go over them, talk to your team members, and work out a strategy. You can see, you know, which trades were done by whom, and I think it would be beneficial. So you can you have those records on your sheet. Now again, if the position that's open is not the position you think it should be, it's probably because nobody went to orders and positions, functionality, account setting, and didn't uncheck interday first. If you do, it will change, and the open positions will be the ones that you put on last. First in, first out. I'm going to click here, which brings it down, and then I'm going to minimize it. So go back over to here. So this is a constant volume bar. Another bar, another chart type that is untimed is the range bar. Now this is a range bar where every one of these is 8 ticks. 8 ticks is 2 full points. So here, if I go on here, the high-low is 2,800, 27.98. The difference is 2 full points. If I go to this one, 28.04 and a quarter, 27.04 and a quarter, 28.03 and a quarter, and again, it's 2 full points. So in this case, again, it's untimed, but every single bar has the same range unless it's the end of a session. Then it will be truncated. And again, you can see that this reacts differently, but on the range bar, you had a very powerful trade that would have started there, ended there, and this would have been your trade. You remember, you have to make 10 trades a day. By the way, I put up this $sign here. If you left click here, go up here, you made about almost $1,000 per contract on this trade. 10 contracts, you'd make $10,000, depending on your margin. The amount of contracts that you buy is determined by the amount of money that you actively have in your account. So if you're winning, you can do more. If you're losing, you're going to do less. I'm going to take these off. So, and this is Elliott Wave again, which I showed you. And again, if you look at the cloud and you look at these numbers and you particularly focus on 2 to 3 and 4 to 5 and above the cloud, you should be looking at the long side. If it's 2 to 3 or 4 to 5 below the cloud, you should be looking at the short side. What that does is at least it keeps you on the right side of the market. Wave 3, which is 2 to 3, and 4 to 5 are your longest waves in the direction of the trend. If you couple that with this going up, you have a pretty strong indicator, and in this case, this is the up move you would have caught. And by the way, if you have any questions on this, there's a little question mark. If you right-click, you can open up the Help menu, or you can right-click on Range Bar. You can right-click here, Modify, and go to Info here, and it would open up our Help menu on what a Range Bar is. Or you could just left-click on this and just point to a bar, and it will again open up the help bar file. If you open up the help file, you can go to chart types, but you can also go to the study button on any study. Let's look at MACD, and you can open up an info button there, and it will give you how it's calculated, how to use it, what parameters are available that you can control. So there's a lot of help menus that are in the help part of the file, and there's lots of ways of getting to that. So each bar here is 8. The last one of the new ones I wanted to show you, and then I'll show you a CQG one, is the Renko. Now, I did have to change this from its original settings. When you first turn it on, this is going to be unchecked, and this is going to look like this. And I don't find that as useful, so I check Show Wicks and Scalable, set the default. Now, this is also set at, no, this is set at 5. I'm going to put in an 8. So it matches the range bar. But the difference here, instead of this entire thing being a 8-tick range, the solid part, the low here is 8 ticks lower than this low. And this one is 8 ticks lower than this low. This one is 8 ticks higher than the previous high. So this one, it has to be 8 ticks above, or whatever you set, above or below but the total range here is not 8 ticks, but it is it's actually what was the high? I missed the high. Sorry. The high-low is going back 6 ticks, 6 handles, which is 6 times 4. So it's considerably more. The most it can be is 8 here, which is 16, and 7 above, which is 23. Because if it goes to 24, it's going to be green. So the 27, 23 is the most the range could be before it goes to the next one. We can put the cloud up here as well. And again, look at this trade. Broke out of the cloud, went all the way up until it finally took a rest spot here. If we put the EW on there, we got a nice 3 up here. So this would qualify there. And if we put the ADX with DMI, though it wasn't quite as clean as the other one, it's going up to here. And it gets its determination of the direction. If the blue line back here, called the DMI, directional movement indicator, is higher than the red, it's strengthening in the bullish direction. If it's going here, it's going up, but the red line's on top, it's bearish. It's strengthening in the down direction, hence this move. But notice how the bottom of the cloud, which is the bottom of the support area, held every time until it finally went back through. So again, the other thing that's interesting is that with the cloud, you start to look at support and resistance as an area rather than a point. And I think that's important. The last one I'm going to show you is a CQG proprietary chart type called T-Flow. And I'm going to modify this to a regular bar, and I'm going to put up, let's just put up 20, which is the most. And what this is doing now is it's showing you every time the inside market, that's best bid, best offer, changes 20 times. And the color, the brightness and the thickness indicates volume. So this was a high volume bar in the down direction. And you can see the 2600 at the bottom, 2616. And actually, let's just put it up on there so it stays. 2616 people hit the bid. Now, when do you hit the bid? You hit the bid when you're selling, and you want to sell right now. So you hit the bid, and 2,198 people lifted the offer. Those are buyers willing to give up the tick to get in the market. So AV, which is ask volume, are buyers. Bid volume is sellers. This is what it was one bar back. So you can see whether it's a change in the direction. It was not. This one was actually stronger in that almost double the people hit the bid that lifted the offer. So why are we surprised that the next bar is down? We're not, because that's what we were looking for. So this shows you, and if as you're going down, you can see here when all of a sudden you see green is more than red. That means buyers are coming in. Now up here you see there's almost no color, but if you put it up there, you can see that there's still more buyers and sellers here, and then the sellers came in. So this is kind of this is based on volume, and it tells you, it indicates to you whether there are more buyers or more sellers on a bar. And on any of these, you can add the cloud, or you can add the other studies that are up here. And you can play with this. You can also make this based on range instead of inside market. And now the range was exceeded 20 times for each one, but you're going much further back. So you're already back to January 10th. But you can see also how you sometimes the longer perspective gives you a better idea of if you were to get in and stay in the trade. And you can always put a trailing stop if you go to class or somebody else is watching it. So, and it doesn't have to be 20. Right now it's still pulling data in the back. So there we go. We could go in here to T-flow and make this a 10 tick range, and now it's more myopic, shorter, more nearsighted. Now each time each range here is 10 ticks, and remember this is in 4s. So actually, if I made it 12, these would be even numbers, or at least they would be the same. Each range now is 3 handles or 3 whole numbers. And then it shows you how much time. Now, if you're used to time, you can go to more and you can find a time-based T-flow. Now, this is, everyone here is 5 minutes, but it still shows you where the volume is. It still shows you when the volume came in, and whether it's mostly lifting offers or hitting bids. The next thing I do want to show you is that you have full access to news. And this has all your news. You can go at the bottom and you can scroll back. The red means it's important. Amazon H2O short list also includes Denver. Oh, that's their second headquarters. That's HQ. Miami, Montgomery County, Maryland. Since the owner of Amazon also owns the Washington Post, it wouldn't surprise me if they went to Maryland, where he was close to both his businesses. But you can also set this up that you can actually link this to a chart, and you can see what happened, what might have made the market move at any one place. And we also have, but I don't have my login. It's at my desk. But this is News Plus, and maybe it's just set up here. Hold on. Stan at CQG. And whoops. Let's see if that logs in. No, I have to get my login. But what this does, and every one of you will get a login and password. What this News Plus does is it takes it and puts it into stories, and you can set it up to give you the stories that you want to see. In other words, you could put up energy, and you would get energy stories, and you're always going to get stories that move the market. And then also you have access under Dow Jones to the calendar of events. And the calendar of events you can open up, and it tells you what reports are coming out. It tells you what's expected. EI, this is natural gas reports. And then when it comes out, it puts in the actual and gives you the difference for each one. You can also go up here and filter by indicators, and you could filter by country. You can look at the country you happen to be in, and or you could just look at the U.S. because we're looking at mostly U.S. markets. So that would be, that's the calendar of events from Dow Jones, and we have the news from Dow Jones, and we have News Plus from Dow Jones. So you're getting all the news in a number of different formats. And you'll be getting a login for the News Plus as soon as we get enough of the accounts open. Then Dow Jones will issue login and passwords so that you can look at the News Plus. And I'll dig up mine because I forgot what mine was. It's always open on my machine. You only have to log in once, and then it stays open on that machine. So, okay, so we've gone over quotes, charts, news, settings, our website, different trading interfaces, formulas. Well, if you can always look at that, but probably you won't be getting into this too much. But these are when you customize stuff. So when you customize studies or indicators, you can create your own study and use that. Conditions are yes, no. If you want to say, I'm looking at 2 moving averages, if moving average 1 crosses above moving average 2, send me an alert. So you can set up alerts, you can program things. These are usually spreads. And again, on our website, you can find videos on conditions and custom studies and trades like that. I didn't mention, but as you probably know, we don't allow black box trading, no algo trading. The reason for that is that we have people coming in with a wide variety of experiences, and to make it educational and to make it somewhat competitive, we do not allow automated trading. On the other hand, though, if you are a programmer, you can program your program as a gray box. We won't know that, and it will send you a trading indicator, but you'll have to trade it manually. One more thing I want to cover real quickly, and then I will be off. Okay, this is mdemo.cqg.com. Once you get a simulated account, you can log on to this any place you're on the internet, mdemo.cqg.com, and it will ask you for your login and password. You use the same simulator, the one you use for trading. I think I'm going to try to set up a page with all of our symbols on it that we can trade. This one is not quite set up that way. But it operates the same way as we looked before. Click on crude oil, and this is now crude oil, and here's a 10-minute chart on crude oil. Go to EP, and the same thing. Notice that my trades are already marked on here, the ones we did, because I'm logged in with the same login. This is not on it, but this is the NASDAQ. This is the Dow Jones, which we're not trading. Here's corn. And you can see that took a big drop down today. And we have soybeans. So these aren't all of them, but these are some of the symbols that we're using, and that's soybean oil, wheat. Here's T-notes. That's on ours. Cattle is on ours. There's gold. And again, you don't have quite as many studies on here yet, but you do have a variety of studies, and you can add any one you want. Bollinger Bands. MAX is 4 different moving averages, which I use sometimes, and I use 4918 for short term. Stochastics, RSI, you have all of those. And here's ADX, though it doesn't have the things behind it. It doesn't have my custom one, but it does have the ADX. And MACD with histogram, which is custom. Momentum, pivot points. Pivot points were one of the first things I learned when I came into this industry some 30 years ago, because they used to use them on the floor. It's based on open, high, low, close in the previous day's range, and it gives you some idea of support and resistance, especially on days that are not trending. And VWAP, which is volume-weighted moving averages, average price. And so these are your choices right now, and we're adding new ones all the time here. And that would go here, and then we can link them. There's I'm going to be doing a webinar on just the desktop. In addition, there's a lot of information on our website. If you check on product desktop and look at videos, that shows you a lot of the functionality that's available on the desktop. So it's and because each and every one of you will have your own individual login, you will be able to everybody will be logged on to one thing. Now it looks a little different if you're on a phone. You're going to get a window like this, and then you slide it over and you'll get the chart, and then there'll be a button on the bottom you'll hit if you want to trade. So you have the functionality, but it'll be on 3 different pages, windows, because you're looking at an iPhone or a Galaxy or an LG or something, Android. So it's a little bit different when you're looking on the phone. This would be on a desktop, a tablet, an iPad. You could set it up like this. Okay, are there any questions at all? I haven't seen any questions, so I either overwhelmed you or I did a great job. Well, if there aren't any questions, I do want to, again, welcome you to the CME Group Trading Challenge 2018, and I wish you all the best of luck. If you have any questions on functionality or indicators or anything, you can send it to tradingchallenge@cqg.com. If you have any questions concerning the team makeup, the rules, you can send it to trading.challenge@cmegroup.com. Or you can send all your questions to both, and it'll still end up here if it has anything to do with the charting or trading application. So if there aren't any questions, good luck and have a great day.